Hi, it's Samantha from Labakita Marketing again. I have another expert interview. Uh, we have Jika here today. I have pronounced that right, yes?
Jika.
Jika. Oh, almost.
It was very good. It was a very good first try.
We have Jika here today. And we're going to be talking about B2B marketing. So Jika, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I definitely can. So basically, on a nutshell, cheese is my spirit animal. Not all my tattoos have meanings. And what I do for life is saving people from boring brands and useless advertising.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I think the worst thing a brand can be is boring.
Oh, yeah.
And that does 100% include B2B.
100%, maybe 1,000% even.
Yeah, I think one of the problems I have, which you may have come across, is especially when I was client side, was sort of explaining to the senior corporate level that you can use emotion, things can be amusing, you can be exciting and still be a serious brand.
Oh, definitely. I'm sorry, I'm in Vienna right now, and ambulances are extremely loud in this country.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, of course they are supposed to be loud, but here in Vienna is like over the top. So yeah, there is an ambulance.
And only just
passing by.
Do you know what? If you hadn't pointed it out, I wouldn't have noticed.
Okay. Just to, yeah, some cultural thing. But yes, going back to the topic, Samantha, definitely, this is something that really bothers me, especially when it comes to B2B. But first things first, I don't know if everybody is informed about the difference of B2B and B2C. So when you have B2C, you have a business to consumer,
yeah,
meaning that you are a brand that is selling straight to the end user. This is such a, I often say people. Like, yeah, for instance, I don't know, you are a clothes brand or whatever, and then you are selling to the people who are going to wear your brand. And when we are talking about B2B, then it's business to business, meaning that you are selling something that another company will use. And somehow there is this very tragic idea that when it comes to B2B brands, no, we are not B2C. We should be like more serious, more conservative, because, you know, this is corporate communication and all that. And I really, I couldn't have a more different opinion about that, because in the end, regardless if you are selling directly to your consumer, or if you are selling to a person that is signing the check to contract or to buy something from another business, it's still a person doing that. And everybody has emotions. So why would you have a super grayish and neutral and absolutely dispersonalized brand? Why, Samantha?
I think the reason is that there's this belief that in business to business, people are making very rational decisions. Therefore, it's based purely on facts. But that's not the reality of human beings.
Of course not.
It's not how we function.
We love facts. Yeah, thank you very much. Facts are important. Facts can help us to make better decisions and all that, definitely. But it's so sterile when you just pile up a bunch of facts or product features or whatever. And then it's like, yeah, okay, but what's the story you want to tell, right? Because again, it doesn't matter if you are B2C or B2B. Regardless of that, you want to keep your customers, right? Yeah. You want them to come back. You want them to work doing some word of mouth for you. You want them to engage with your brand. Yeah. So how are you going to do that if you can only talk in numbers, or
Yeah.
if you can only talk in features, this is so boring.
Yes. Oh my word, yes. And it's not just your existing customers and engaging with them either. It's getting their attention in the first place. If you're
Exactly.
you know that you've got to get someone's attention for them to even look at the facts and figures. People are bombarded, including in business, including very technical people. They're bombarded with messages every single day. Why should they look at you? Why should they look in more detail at your facts and figures?
Yeah, and most probably they are receiving 1,000 of messages from other companies that look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because this is the norm. Yeah, you have this sort of vocabulary, and what I hate the most is like, okay, we need to put more emotions here. So instead of, look at this, I don't know, 4K beamer, whatever, look at this awesome 4K beamer, whatever. It's like, nah, come on.
It's a little bit more to it than that.
I'm so tired of awesome this and awesome that, and then disruptive this, disruptive that. No, seriously, like, tell me more. Tell me how my company will be impacted, how I myself will be impacted if I am working with your company, right? And there's also something else, Samantha, that I can see is, again, as we were talking before, it's not only about engaging your people, but it's also about making them to be with us, to realize that we do exist as a company. And this is something that is trending. I mean, it's a macro trend. So it's been more than 15 years already that we've been constantly talking about community building, right? You don't want just a customer. You want to nurture this relationship, because there's so much added value into that. People start to, it's like, what was her name? Faith Popcorn, the super fortune teller of business. She was the mother of trends and stuff.
Okay, Faith Popcorn. I don't think I've heard of them. I'm making note of that.
Yeah, no, many years ago, I mean, decades already, maybe 30 years even, or something like that. She was like, no, all the businesses, they all have to take care of this. And then I remember one of the macro trends, I never forget this too. One is cocooning, is the need for people to be like in a pod somehow and to be embraced. And the other one is belonging. So we want to belong, definitely. Yeah. What are we doing in every social media? It's like, hey, I also like this. Yeah, I also wear this same outfit style. Oh yes, I also have a French bulldog. We are all the time trying to belong to certain communities, and your business can do the same. So yeah, I also buy from them, so that makes me special, or that makes me look very trendy, or whatever, or trustworthy, or very responsible, or so yeah, this is so important.
And I guess it's as a topic that comes up again and again in my videos. It's you need to start with the basics. You need to understand who your customers are in order to understand how you benefit them, what sort of emotions are coming up in the specific situation where they're going to be interested in your product or come across your product or service. It's getting those basics right. It's understanding your segment. It's the basics: segmenting your market, targeting, positioning.
Fundamental. Absolutely, because those are the most common mistakes, I would say. First one is, I don't know who I am as a company.
Yeah.
and I don't know who my customers are. Normally they come together in a combo, which is very sad. And then what you can see happening, and it's, yeah, when you don't have this understanding of who you are as a company in terms of, yeah, what difference are you making there? You know, what is the impact you are bringing to the market? I'm not talking about social impact, as long as I do believe social impact should be in the agendas of every company. But okay, what's the difference you make? And to know that, you have to understand what your customers are needing, because you will have to provide this for them. This is the most beautiful Venn diagram. As you can see, I am not very good designer, but that's it. What you can provide and what people are needing. You have to find this overlay.
So I use exactly that Venn diagram when I'm doing brand workshops with clients. I go through them. Okay, so who's your customer, and what are the issues they face in their world?
Exactly.
And then look at, okay, so what's special about you? What's different about you? And then the crossover, that Venn diagram, as you said, that's your brand. That's the core of your actual brand. And then all your messaging can come out from that core brand.
Exactly. How can you make it flowed through your communication, through your touch points and everything? Because this is how you build a consistent brand.
Yes.
And then very few people take this seriously, in the sense of, no, a consistent brand. I am a consistent company already. I don't need a consistent brand. Oh, my dear, you do need. Everybody does. People need to be consistent. Although, okay, we are humans, and then we cannot be consistent all the time. But when it comes to businesses, you cannot say one thing and do something else.
Yes.
You cannot say we are a people-centered company, but then your people are working 18 hours a day. I'm sorry, it doesn't match. So you have to look for this consistency and be realistic, you know. This is, I don't know about your experience, Samantha, but I see so many companies like, oh no, we should have sustainability in our core values. Okay, but are you doing anything related to sustainability? No, not really. Do you plan to do it? Not really. So why are you going to put sustainability there?
Yeah.
Just because it's a buzzword, just because it's an important value for the world now? If you are not going to make it, then just don't be realistic, right?
Yeah. I think that, and that brings me on to something else, where the brand, I think a lot of people think of the brand as, oh, it's a logo, it's the colors, maybe even the tone of voice, you know, it's but actually the brand is the core values of the company. It is what is the essence of the company. It's just the marketing department and sales team, etc., are communicating what that core is, but everyone in the company needs to understand what that brand is and where they fit into it.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's not true.
This is, I don't know, sometimes I even think about myself as the biggest Pollyanna ever, because I'm so in love with branding and all that. I find it so beautiful. And whenever I see a brand, there is actually delivering it and being consistent and all that, it really brings me to tears.
And it works. There's been research.
Definitely. So, but I think it's the same way, like when a doctor sees a very well executed surgery, they are like, oh yeah, that's amazing. I think I could relate with that when it comes to branding. And this thing that you just said, Samantha, is so important, because when everybody, or at least the majority of the people from the company, when they do understand the company's purpose, the golden circle, whatever you want to call it, everything runs so smoothly in terms of decision making. Okay, but should we go to this event or not? But what? No, wait. What do we do? Why do we do it? this, and that. Okay, this event doesn't have anything to do with us. So what for? Of course not. Just forget it. No. Like, should we, I don't know, should we do this sort of campaign or this other no, wait. Who are we? Why do we exist? Who are our customers? Okay, period. Move on. It just makes it so much easier, because then you don't have people fearing to make decisions. You don't have inconsistent outcomes, because this decision was made based on numbers only, and this was made based on personal taste, or this or that. It's like sharing a code. It's like, to be very extremist here, it's like a religion. You have your commandments, and okay, so this is how we work here. This is what we want to express. This is how we want people to feel, our people and the people who are buying our product or service.
Yeah.
So it's so underestimated, because very often people consider only the brand as the logo, and, as you said, the tone of voice, and then we have this imagery, and that's it. But it's so not. Yeah. Also, because if you want to have a consistent identity, you should before have a consistent brand platform, which is, okay, what does matter for us? Why are we doing this, right? At least this is how I work. This is how you work, I know. Yeah. So that's the first step we do. And then we go to design.
Yes. Yeah. That's kind of the last stage. But it's so often the first stage that people rush to. But and there's been there've been some research. I can't remember who did it. I think it might have been JP Morgan did some research on brand focused companies, by which they meant this consistency that we're talking about. There was a brand proposition and everyone in the company understood it. It's well communicated internally and externally, are 50% more profitable than similar companies in the industry. 50%. It makes a huge difference.
No, seriously, if you're a business leader and you just heard this number, as we said before, numbers are important.
Yeah.
But more important than that is the story that they are telling us.
Yeah.
You can make 50% more revenue when you have a strong brand proposition. Come on, market. Like, really?
Yes.
This is too significant. And why would you just not do it? Why? You're not willing to have some like extra revenue, and people who are feeling connected to your brand and wanting to engage more and be advocates of your brand. Like, they're the only thing I can see are benefits.
Yes, completely. I
mean, you can find a little bit of pain, because as we were saying before, it takes some time for you to stop. No, okay, but why? What are our values for real? And that's why you should hire people like Samantha and myself, and then we make it very easy for you.
Yes, that's true. That is absolutely true. And it's putting that time up front to get it right in the first place. And then I also think it's important, because the market changes over time. What you do and what you offer, quite often people are developing new products or improving on their products all the time. So you then need to review that brand every few years. I think that's important as well.
Sure. But that's the point. I mean, yeah, that's why I was working a lot with the automotive industry over this year. And because I had that very strong on my radar, I was seeing that basically every big automotive brand did a rebranding now. Over the past few years, they all did. They are all way much more minimalistic. They are all talking about a lot of lifestyle, to have a better life, to live simpler, to live easier, to move from A to B in a better way and this and that. So you can see how the speech is shifting, because society and the market, everything is in a constant transformation. And yeah, for sure, it definitely
I think that's been
happens.
accelerated recently. I guess automotive could be a key one that's been affected, but probably most brands need to if you haven't reassessed since before COVID, you need to look at your brand again now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Things have changed so much. It really accelerated that change that's always going on anyway. Yeah. And
one thing which is very important now that we are talking, that most of the brands are changing and evolving and all that, something that I've seen and that really breaks my heart is, oh, that sounds good. Yeah, let's use it. So like some brands, they do a sort of a potpourri of like brand statements here and there and here and there. So yeah, sounds good. This is who we are and what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's important
what they do at all because they've just stolen it.
Of course. So it's important to look for references, and I totally understand that for people who are not working with branding on a daily basis and stuff, it might sound like a lot of bullshit. And sometimes it can be easier for you to understand when you start analyzing other brands and how they do it. So you might feel like, but this is already very good for me. Yeah, I'll take it. No, you can use it as a reference. It's very good to also bring this to the briefing, to your brand consultant, to your creative director, your marketing manager, or Samantha or myself, whomever is working on that for you. And then the next question we are going to make is why? Why do you think that's important? Why do you think this is translating what this company is? And then from this conversation on, then we will get to your true self and your true company self DNA or whatever.
And sometimes I find that it's not necessarily the senior management of companies are often missing things. Quite often it's good, like for example, if I run one of these workshops trying to get to the bottom of what the brand proposition should be, I like to have people from customer service, finance, sales, obviously marketing as well, all these different touch points that the customers have, because they know things that senior management don't know. Sometimes they think the customer's need is one thing and actually it's something else, or they have a slightly different view on things. And sometimes, if you have the product guys in these meetings as well, they might have a better idea of, actually our product does do that matches that customer need. We never talk about it.
100%. Actually, Samantha, I love, especially when customer success or those people who are on the front line, I love when they come to the workshop, because it's so funny to look at senior management faces.
Yeah.
Because it's very important to create this atmosphere of trust, and we are all here for the same cause, and we all want to get to a very good place, to bring the brand to a very good place and a very strategic positioning. And when people from the front line, when they feel comfortable about talking, it's so disruptive. It's like, actually, well, it's not as like, well, more or less, because what we face every day, and then truth comes out and it's beautiful.
Yes.
It's beautiful, because as we were saying before, you have to be realistic. You cannot build a brand based only on the vision of the founder. Of course, this is very important, but it's absolutely fundamental for you to have a clear picture of where your brand is standing right now.
Yes.
Because then you can state, for instance, and this is where we are aiming to, come with us. And this is very different from, and this is who we are right now.
Yeah. You have your vision of where you want to be.
Yeah.
And this is where we are now. Yes. I'm gonna have to let my dog out. He's having broken in, he now wants to get out. It's typical, isn't it? Dog's sake. And yeah, and that can feed back into as well. If you understand your vision of where you want to get to, and you understand your current brand proposition, it can help you to develop those products and services to make sure that you are going in the right direction. As long as you need to have that feedback loop.
For me, this is the most beautiful outcome of what we do.
Yeah.
When we can see all this brand essence guiding product development, for instance.
Yes.
It's so cool. It's so cool to have product people on board as well. Is beautiful. So like, okay, this is who this company is and how this is reflected into our app. It's so cool to see this happening. It's like, okay, it says we are inclusive, we are flexible, and this and that. And how are we going to, how these values are going to be translated into our community building?
Yeah.
You know, so I love it. I love it. This is one of the things, one of my favorite things, because yeah, for sure, communication is easy. For us, it's easy because we've been doing this for so long. But for me, the brightest brands are the ones who are bringing all the departments together and making this constant exercise of, okay, how do we translate this value into the way we are dealing with people, into the way we are building our products, into the way we are, yeah, designing our customer service, or so on and so forth. Yeah. This is very beautiful. Yeah.
And it's all too often, I think we've touched on a little bit, all too often companies do it back to front. So yes. BP is always a great example for me. Beyond Petroleum, because they wanted, and you know, changing the logo to have all leaves and look all green, when they're one of the most polluting companies on the earth, and they have not made any changes. That's fine to have that as a vision. That's where you want to be in 5-10 years time. Start making those moves, but don't try and con people into believing that that's your core brand values, because it will just fall flat. I mean, they were roundly mocked for that one, and quite rightly too.
Samantha, you are completely right, and it's very important to talk about it, because back in the day, advertising, like in the Mad Men era and all that, you could just invent something and whatever, because if you would see that speech on the television, oh my God, it has to be true. Yeah, definitely, because brands and they had such an authority before that no one would question a brand. But now, seriously, people are saying the earth is flat. I mean, there is a amount of distrust in institutions and companies and all of that, that seriously, if you are not showing off, if you are not proving that your speech is reflecting something that you are actually doing, I'm sorry, you just lost their trust.
Yeah.
And no company can afford to lose people's trust nowadays, because it's so hard to get it back again. Yeah. So hard, especially now that you will have already crazy people inventing stuff about yourself and your company, fake news and all that. So it's so easy for you to become a fake news in the eyes of the others, you know. So that's also, nowadays, it's so important for you to be consistent.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah,
completely. Okay. And is there anything else that we haven't covered really that you think is important to talk about when it comes to?
Well, I'm pretty sure there's a million topics we didn't cover.
Well, about brand specifically, I guess.
About brand specifically, no, I would say this is pretty much the basics, the fundamentals. So again, we are companies are like people. So the more self-knowledge you have, the better will the outcomes be. If you do a lot of therapy, if you go back, if you understand why you were making those decisions, if you understand what is the meaning of success for you and what you're running for and all that, it's the same thing for companies. And as a company leader or the leader of a specific department, those are things you should have on your side. You should figure this out before anything else. And it's okay if you haven't done it so far, you still have a chance. It's all right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can be a 100 years family corporation, whatever. There's always time.
Yeah,
of course, the sooner the better.
Yeah.
But I would say that also you might find some resistance from colleagues and stuff, because I think this can be applied everywhere in the world, in every culture. Not everyone is really willing to change.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
we've always done it that way.
We've always done it that way. Every time I listen to this sentence, I think a baby panda dies in the world. And it's been a lot of baby pandas already, people. So I would say, if you are the person in the organization that is pushing this transformation and all that, it's very important to be resilient.
Yeah.
Because you would, like, if you are like us, special people, no, if you are like us and you understand the value of all that, it's like a no-brainer, right? It's like, oh my God, how come we never did this before? We have to do it right now. So you have this awakening, and all of a sudden you expect everybody to, oh, yeah, of course. But actually you're gonna listen to lots of no's, probably. So it's very important for you to have a strategy yourself on how you are going to bring people aboard. On board.
And I think if you know you've got specific people who are more resistant to change than others, getting them involved in that brand workshop in the first place, that they've got buy-in, because it's partially, they've got partial ownership, they've contributed towards it. That's quite a good way of bringing them on board, I think.
Totally agree. In a previous conversation we had before, Samantha and I, we were talking about how co-creative methodologies, they actually have this power of engaging people from different departments, even the ones who were saying we don't need this. Yeah, once, maybe after seeing, I don't know, 8 or 10 other people from the organization, they're like, oh, okay, no, this is relevant. I know, okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe they are less skeptic about it. So yeah, co-creating is a beautiful way to bringing people together, and it increases the level of buy-in. It reduces the 1,000 steps of approvals and all that. So yeah, it's definitely good. So don't be disappointed with that. You should be expecting some level of resistance, and try to find some strategies to bring people together with you. It might take some time. You might want to start this process even a little bit before hiring an agency, a consultancy or something.
Oh yeah, unless they're unless they do that. Like for me, for example, I can help you work
convert
through that, because that's what I do. But don't go straight to a designer. I actually have agencies come to me because they've got clients that go to them and they don't have a brand proposition, they don't have a strategy. So if you're going to go to an agency, make sure they can do strategy.
That's super. Yeah, you can print this and put it on your wall. Leader, you do that. Absolutely.
Brilliant. That's I think that's great. Great way to round this off. And before I go any further, I just want to check, do you have anything to plug right now? Anything that you want people to know about? Anything that you would like, you know, if you want people to connect to you or see your work?
Definitely. You can go straight to LinkedIn and you can look for me there. Gica Treat. I never know how to pronounce my surname now because I'm Brazilian, but I have an Italian citizenship and I live in Austria. So every time I say it differently.
Brazilian's fine. I will be putting your link in the when I publish it on my website. Your LinkedIn link will be there. It's fine.
That's very good. It makes things very easy because it's a German surname. So it would be Trierweiler. So Gica Trierweiler. Yeah, you can find me there on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. And if you have any questions or you want to talk about anything, just drop me an email and you will definitely be hearing from me.
Brilliant. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. This has been I think this is going to be a really good one. I think brand is something a lot of people don't really understand.
No, seriously, in half an hour, we just shared so much value here, Samantha. I think the UN should pay us just.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Definitely.
The United Brands or something like that. Like, yeah, you should follow those women. Very good.
Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for watching and see you next time.
Bye.